Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show. We also review graphic novels, comics of all kinds. OmniCat, how are you this morning, this afternoon?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
We shifted our time a little bit to noon because you're afflicted with that job thing, I assume. Was that the reason?
You know,
Or was
I
it
have had
personal reasons?
the weirdest schedule of all time. I'll tell you that. It's been a mess.
But we can be thankful that you still have a job.
Yes, and I'm very thankful. As much as I like the idea of working from home, I've been there the whole time. So just got really good at cleaning, you know?
Yeah. And did I tell you I had the brain scraping?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I got tested for it, yeah. Because I had to have a procedure, and it was going to be it was an in-office procedure that was going to be painful enough that they were going to give me laughing gas.
Mm.
But to get laughing gas, you have to be COVID-free, so I had to get a COVID test.
Yeah, I found it didn't hurt me. It just feels real weird.
I agree with that. It just felt weird. Yeah.
It's very odd. Like, it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
But it didn't necessarily hurt.
I kept wanting to blow it out.
Yeah. And I know it's only in there for a few seconds, but it feels like 4 hours.
Yeah. But she was pretty fast for me. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah.
And did you get yours because you were exposed to it, or was it preventative?
Yeah, both my parents had it.
Oh, that's right.
And I briefly visited them. Thankfully, I didn't get it. Yeah. Yeah, well, it started with my dad, and, they lived together. So then my mom had it like a week later. So we got tested, and all is good, thankfully.
And your parents are both okay now?
Yep. They, per CDC, now they're good for 3 months. So they can't even get it or spread it for 3 months. Will it change tomorrow? Maybe. But right now, pretty good news.
Okay. I just read something that said that we'll probably have to get a COVID vaccination every year for the rest of our lives.
Wow. Well, I just got a flu shot, so...
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's no different than a flu shot. I get a flu shot every year.
Yeah. I just got mine yesterday. My arm hurts. That after pain? Oh, my gosh.
They aim for the muscle on those flu shots, man.
Yeah. It's like, just moving it right now. I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. I'm glad I don't do the chicken a lot, because,
Yeah, they go right for the muscle. I don't know. At this point in my life, I've had enough shots and blood drawings and stuff done that it doesn't bother me at all anymore. Yeah. But as a young man, I did not like having blood on getting shots. And I'm not talking like 6 years old. I'm talking like 25. And I had to go to the doctor, and he said, well, we need to draw some blood for your physical, and you should probably get a flu shot. And I'm like, okay. And so they go, flu shot, blood draw, boom, just passed out.
Oh, no.
Only for a couple seconds I went, whoa, I don't feel good. I'm really dizzy. And they're like, okay, just stay right where you are. Now I could be running alongside the road, and you can take my blood. Just go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but when I was 11, my appendix ruptured.
Right.
I was in the hospital for a month, so I got really used to just waking up and people were drawing my blood. So ever since then, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's like, okay, cool, bye. Like, that'll get you used to it.
My only thing when I was in the hospital for pancreatitis, which you and I have shared both of those things, I hated that they came in when they came in. Like, why can't they come in at 10 a.m. when I finally got some sleep? Why 5 a.m. when I finally fell asleep after a terrible night in the hospital?
That's how it is, right? Because I swear I would wake up and they'd just be drawing blood, and I'm like, well, you woke me up because of it. Like,
Yeah. I didn't dig that part of it at all. That's the only part of it. I like everything else in the hospital, especially the drugs.
Yeah, I got really into morphine then.
You what?
Just then. Just when I was 11, I got really into morphine in the hospital.
Yeah, nice.
I'd be like, I want some more of that morphine. Oh yeah, yeah. It was bad news.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I like that you got started even before me. That's a side of Kristen we didn't know about.
That's all right. I've never had it since. But at the time, the nurse would be like, "You want anything else?" I'd be like, "I'd like some of that morphine, please."
18 cups to go. Nice. So we can talk about our books. We can talk about one book in particularly. And I included it, even though, I included it so we could talk about it.
Oh yeah, I forgot even. I was like, "Oh, what was that?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Now, I think we missed last time, right?
Yeah, I think we may have missed 2 now. I think you had to move one, and then I moved one.
Yeah, I was sick for one, and I think you maybe had work, or you were sick with a sinus headache or something.
Yeah, I think I was working. I've been working a lot of weekends, unfortunately.
So this has been in the hopper for a month now, and we both started with Okko. A highly
we were so excited.
Oh yeah, we were both excited about this book. Highly recommended book from several people. Oops, I gotta move my thing over so I can at least show you the art before we start talking about it. It's about an ancient samurai, not samurai, but a Ronin. He travels the world during a period of war between 2 warring clans. He fights demons and spiritual terrors, and he has a bit of a posse that follows him. The posse is a sake drinking monk that can call up spirits of nature, a young fisherman, Tiku, learning his way in the world, and a giant who hides his face behind a red mask. That sounded to Kristen and me like a great book, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And at about the exact same time, we texted each other. And what did we say to each other?
I was like, "Hey, you enjoying this story?"
Yeah, you never want to. Sort of approach it gently.
I was tiptoeing it.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to be like, "It's the best story ever," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, fine." And you were like, "Well, the first." Because they're split up in like different stories, because it's a lot of trades in one, right? And you were like, "Oh, the first one was confusing, but maybe it'll get better." And I was like, "You got to get to the second one," because the second story is when things really went off the rails for me. Like the first one, I was like, "I'm not understanding all of this," and also there's some questionable content. Just there were some geisha things that I didn't really understand why it was happening, right? And then the second one was just crazy. It was Looney Tunes. Like it became something I didn't expect from like a samurai story, right?
Yeah.
Like, suddenly there were like, a detached head floating in the air with like a spine dangling and weird entrails everywhere, and that was like the villain. And I was like, what's happening in this? Like, what is going on? I think I got to the middle, and that was the point where I was just reading and not retaining anything. I was just trying to get through it, right?
Yeah.
And then we were both kind of like, we want to give up. Let's give up together.
Yeah, we both threw in the towel at the exact same moment. And I think what I decided, I think maybe you might agree, is that where we sort of bash the Silver Age for too much expository stuff, like too much explanation, telling us relentlessly what's going on. This book had no exposition. This book didn't set up a single thing, and it got, without any kind of direction or backstory or telling me where they are or what the goal is. I almost felt like Stan Lee needed to jump in the beginning of every story and say, so far, here's where we are and here's where we're going. And
I could have used that. Yeah, so many stories we read don't need the exposition. If you do a well enough job telling your story, you don't need any of that. But yeah, I think we were both kind of lost the whole time. Like, what's happening? Why is this happening? And to be honest, I didn't love any of the characters. I felt nothing, at least if there was like a really great character I could like be drawn to, that would have given me something. I had nothing, no attachment to this whole story.
And to me, there was potential with the drunk monk who could raise earth spirits.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough to save it. I like the fact that for some reason, that he always had to be drunk and that he was conjuring these spirits. And I thought that was fun and funny, but that wasn't enough. The Ronin himself, I don't, did we even ever find out why he was on his quest to kill all these demons? Was it something about his family?
If we found it out, I didn't get it. It just went over my head if we did. I will say, if anyone is still interested in reading this story, it is on Comixology Unlimited. So you can read the whole thing there. That's where I was trying to get through it. So you don't have to, because that's very out of print, I believe.
Oh, it is?
I believe. Hey, you could sell it then.
Or you can buy my copy on eBay, which is what I'm going to do now. There's Hayden McGee. Hey, how's it going? And Jessica, when we were talking about our blood drawing, said, this is getting dark. Okay, we're done with all our blood drawing topics.
You were just getting our backstory.
Yeah.
like you didn't get in this comic.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't say anything about it because I didn't finish it.
I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, that we both couldn't get through it.
Yeah. And it's funny, it was like the exact same time we both threw in the towel. We were like, okay, we're done, right?
I don't know that we've ever done that up to now.
So. I don't think we have.
I think that's a review in itself. Saved y'all some money.
I agree. So what would you like to talk about next?
Let's talk about the one you've read before. How about? Which is The Astonishing Ant-Man by Nick Spencer.
This book.
Yeah. So I remember you having read this, and I think that's why I picked it up, which I got this for dirt cheap. You can find these for discounted overstock right now. So you guys look around. Oh. I found it for $10. Nice. And it's one of those nice, chunky, complete collections. I love the ants on the spine. It's such a little thing, but it's so cute. Like, I love that. What a great detail.
Funny. I don't think I'd ever noticed that.
And, these floppy, chunky trays that just flop open, I love it so much. It's a very nice book. But this is all of Nick Spencer's run, right? The entire thing?
As far as I know, yeah. A complete collection.
Yeah, so the 2015 series and all the other ones. I loved it. This is totally an Ant-Man story for anyone who likes the Ant-Man in the movie, I feel like, because that's what I felt the entire time.
I felt like the movie, I should have drawn, I'm hearing an echo. Are you hearing an echo?
No.
Is anyone out there hearing an echo?
Is it me?
I can get headphones if I'm echoing. I should have looked up official writer credits or something for the movie, because I feel like the movie pulled a lot of stuff from this book. It felt like the original movie.
When did the movie come out? Do we remember that? I'll look it up.
Okay.
If we don't.
And I feel like the Cassie stuff happened in the second movie that they modeled.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one came first, but either way, someone's drawn from something.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like when did that first one come out?
2015.
2015.
And then this first series came out in 2015.
Okay.
So that means they wrote the movie first, I would assume.
Huh. Well, Nick Spencer, I don't know that I trust him yet, but I've read 3 things by him now that I love. And one of them I can't remember, but I'll remember it in a second. it was controversial. Somebody else didn't like it. I love his Ant-Man. I love Superior Foes of Spider-Man. And I just reviewed a book by him, and I can't think of what it was.
Was it The Fix?
The Fix, right. I loved that. And wait, was that us or was that me and Taylor?
I think it was you and Taylor, yeah I haven't read it.
He didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I was laughing out loud on every page on The Fix. But then Nick Spencer's got Morning Glories, which is not only has it never ended,
oh yeah,
it's never made sense. It's gone. It goes from like issues 1 through 25. You get like 3 different sets of characters, and we never learn what happened to the original set of characters. And then character set number 2 disappears, and all of a sudden character set 2 reappears or something. And it's up to I read that a lot and never understood. Nothing seemed to get finished. Like no arc got done, and it was like all blending into each other. And I heard that his Spider-Man is just okay. Wait, is he writing Spider-Man now? Nick Spencer, I think he's writing Spider-Man right now, and I heard it was just okay. But I think when he's unleashed with his sense of humor, he kills it. I mean, I really would look forward to Nick Spencer books that I knew were funny. And Ant-Man, I mean, I loved this whole thing. It makes him his whole family dynamic, all the crazy costumed foes and allies and everything are just outrageously funny. This is exactly what we needed. This is exactly what I needed right after Okko.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys playing poker there. That just cracks me up. Those 3 costume guys in their costumes just sitting there playing poker. And, you know, I can't say enough about this book. I just absolutely, I think it's one of the better things Nick Spencer's ever written, and one of my favorite books.
Yeah, I think this was a great mixture of really funny. You saw the silly poker thing. I mean, there's so much over the top superhero things you don't see in other books that would just like never happen, but he makes happen, and then it's funny. But then there's a great mixture of everything that happens with his daughter, and it gets kind of dark and deep, and like you really feel for him, and he keeps messing up, and then you're like angry with him, and you really go through the motions with that whole arc with him and his daughter, which is throughout the entire thing. Yeah. And I love how it ended. You know, if you don't land that ending, yeah, it's not really worth it, right? But he landed that ending, and that was like kind of my favorite part. Everything that happened with him and his daughter, like you cared more about him. He wasn't just a goofy character. Like he had a lot of depth. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that 100%. And it always cracks me up that he was so desperate for a place to live that didn't he buy a Barbie dollhouse and shrink down and live in it for a while? Yeah, because he couldn't live anywhere. Yeah, so he's like, well, that's where I'm living. Jessica has a good question. Is this accessible if you aren't always looped into or current on the Marvel mainline stories? I'd say 100% because I'm not. There you go. And I got everything in this. Like, I'm not caught up with main Marvel at all. And I'm like, yep, I didn't need anything. If you've seen the movies, you already have a grasp of the character, and jump in here. I don't even know that you need to see the movies, honestly. I don't think you need to. Yeah, I don't even think you need to see the movies. I think this is really accessible, Jessica. You could get it and get right into it. Mm-hmm. They don't. I don't remember that there's any kind of crossovers. There's all kinds of goofy enemies and goofy friends of his, but there's nothing. I don't think there's any pre-knowledge needed for this book. No, I think that's a great idea for a show. Books that can just be
standalone. I don't know how many standalone superhero books there are. I'll have to think about that.
I think a lot of the ones we really like Unstoppable Wasp, and a lot of the female standalones got canceled. A lot of those you can just jump into. I think there's a lot of Deadpool you can just jump into.
A lot of what?
A lot of Deadpool is like that too. So you could get a lot out of that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's the best kind of story, right? You don't need 100 years of knowledge to like jump into this and feel comfortable. Anytime someone like popped up, like there were some like main character like Tony Stark, and he said something, there would be a little bubble that's like, hey, if you're interested in this, go to this. Or yeah, that definitely happened. This is, what happened. So it was easy to understand. You didn't need anything.
Yeah. So we both enjoy and recommend Ant-Man, the complete collection with ants.
Wow, it's so good.
On the cover, on the spine. That's awesome. I don't know how I missed that. Maybe because I don't know. I think I need to move it. It's in because it's in sort of an auxiliary place, so I don't really look at the spine. Maybe I need to move it back into the main library.
Yeah, like I said, you could find it overstock right now, so find it for a good price, guys. You can find it.
Oh, here's some. Let's see. From Jessica. My Marvel shelf is essentially all standalone, female-centric books that got canceled. Right.
Sad.
Unfortunately, I know what you mean. And some X-Men. I would love a video and suggestions for the female or otherwise. Okay. I like that idea. That is a really good idea.
I feel like that's the kind of stuff I'm always looking for.
Sorry?
I was just going to say that's the kind of stuff I'm always looking for, because I don't want to have to read 100 things before I get to the one thing I want to read. You know what I mean? I'm just like, just let me get into it. And if you're good, you could connect it and not have it matter, but that doesn't happen a lot.
Especially with any of the X-Men, I just pick up an X-Men and I just go, oh, okay, this must have happened. And we keep going and saying, oh, okay, this must have happened. But like I have a Psylocke book because I'm interested in the character, and my friend Patrick Kinderwater from Germany, who's an X-Men expert, I said, do I need to read anything before this Psylocke? And there was like 15 books he sent me that I had to read before I got into Psylocke. Like,
that's upsetting.
Psylocke and read Psylocke? What's going on here? But that's how I may just pick up Psylocke and read it and see if I can get into it, because I really do want to read about Psylocke. But that's the thing with these X-Men. It's hard to pick up a standalone X-Men book, with the exception of maybe Mr. and Mrs. X. That's a good standalone series. You just need to know who Rogue and Gambit are. Mm-hmm. For X-Men, that's a good one. But Jessica, Paul Baker has a good question. Strictly Marvel, or do you want standalone DC books too?
Which we've reviewed a lot of good ones for that. Like that whole young adult kids line is all great because it's not in the main universe, Right. That's why I like them, because I don't have to know 100 different things or read a million books.
Yeah, I was going to do a video on those young adult books last night, but Crowded took a long time for me to read. That was 12 issues, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, because I'm usually a pretty fast reader generally, but it took up my whole evening to read it, and I didn't. It
took me a bit too.
What?
It took me a bit too. It's weird. It feels fast paced, but there's just so much going on, right?
Yeah.
Which at this point, I think we're talking about it. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah, we're talking about Crowded, which I got from Hoopla. This is an image book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, by somebody that I really like, Christopher Sabella. He did, I think, Higher Ground, and I want to know what else he did. Did he have something to do with Christopher Sabella? Let's see. Let me do it real quick. Christopher Sabella. Christopher Killick. Who's that? Christopher Columbus.
What'd he do?
What? That Christopher Sabella. I just want to see what he has written. Oh, High Crimes, Dead Letters, Welcome Back. Those are 3 books that I really like. High Crimes was about a Mount Everest expedition, or several. Gosh, that was a good book.
I've been wanting to read that.
Yeah, I really like that book a lot. Where the woman,
He would bring back bodies and stuff, right?
Yeah, she was hired to bring back bodies because there are a lot of bodies along the trail to go up to Mount Everest, and her job was to bring them back. And then a mystery adventure starts happening with people trying to kill her and get the information from something that she got from a body and didn't actually discover until a little bit afterwards. That is a really good book. And then Welcome Back, I'm going to include in a fantasy video. Welcome Back is about 2 ancient warriors that keep getting reincarnated, and in the modern day to fight each other. And so this fight has been going on for thousands of years as they keep getting reincarnated, and they finally get reincarnated and they figure out they are each other and they're supposed to fight. And if I remember correctly, they say, what happens if we don't fight? What if we decide we are not going to do this anymore and continue this battle? What would actually happen? And it was a really good book. So I think Christopher Sabella is a good writer. From everything I've read, I really like him.
I'll have to read those.
Yeah, I think you'd dig. I think you'd like both of them.
Okay, cool.
Crowded. Would you like? This was your suggestion, so
it was.
Why don't you? How did you hear about this?
If you guys have been watching Fangirls Assemble, you'll know that our friend Steven has been joining on some of the shows, and he is the hugest pusher of Crowded I've ever met. So at some point, he made us read Crowded, and I loved it. It's only 2 volumes. There will be a 3rd. It's coming.
I was so pissed at you last night.
I told you it was only 2 and there's going to be 3. I told you.
You didn't say there were going to be 3.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
2 volumes.
Okay.
I think it's only 2. I said, Kristen, I'll
find the message. I definitely told you, but it's fine.
No.
Hold on. I'll look.
No, I'm going to find it myself.
I'll look. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Let's see. Let me search up. You're doing this live on air. Yeah, I said I meant 2 volumes are out with more coming.
Who am I, the mighty Kreskin? I can't read your mind.
No, I said it. I said, oh, I meant 2 volumes are out right after I said there's 2 volumes. So I meant there's 2 volumes are out with more coming. Do you want me to screenshot it for you?
Oh, I meant 2 volumes are out with more coming. All right, I am mistaken. I'm mistaken. I take it back. But I'm still mad at you, so I still have that hat on.
But I want more people to read this, so we for sure get that volume 3. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just why I wanted to talk about it. Okay, good.
I love this. It
good.
Was so different, but so realistic, sort of, on a comic booky, cartoony level. It seemed, I was like, this could really happen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So why don't you? I'll show some art while you tell them about it. How about that?
Okay, so Crowded, as you saw in the main cover there, is ultimately about these two women. There's one woman who's, really surface level. You really think that all she is about her appearance and going shopping. That's the one right there with the pink hair. I forget her name right now, but, very surface level. And one day they live in this universe where, or this world, I guess a futuristic world really, where there's this app called Reaper. And Reaper is something that you can put out a campaign against someone to get them murdered. So for 30
like
days.
A crowdfunded campaign, right?
Yeah. So people can add as much money as they want to the campaign. And that means what you get in return for murdering them goes up and up and up. So let's say it gets to $10,000. And if you murder that person within the 30 days that the campaign goes, and anyone can start a campaign to anyone, then you get that money. And if they're not murdered in 30 days, then they can't have a campaign against them ever again. So they're good. So it's all about, and that's not against the law. So this is totally like free for all. You can do this. You can try to murder someone as long as there's a campaign out. And if there's not, then it's a problem.
This whole world revolves around all kinds of apps that I couldn't even dream of, but they were apps. When you say there's an app for everything, there was an app for everything in this. And
100%.
They constantly are using their phones to do absolutely everything.
Yeah, Jessica made it clear. Reaper Kickstarter for murder. Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. And this girl, the pink hair girl, she gets a campaign against her that ends up hitting $1 million. It's never happened before. No campaign has ever gotten this big, which causes frenzy in the world. Everyone wants to murder her because they want $1 million. And it just keeps going up and up and up. And it keeps making you wondering, what did this girl do? Right. So she finds out this is happening. She seems really confused. Like, how are so many people donated to this campaign? Like, why did I hit $1 million? So they end up calling her the $1 million girl. Well, she gets on another app called Defender, and that is to help her not get murdered. Yeah, and that girl right there with the short hair, she is the one that gets hired from Defender, and she has to defend her for like the 30 days of this campaign.
And she's
and they creature to help her murdered.
Is she just a bodyguard, or is she an investigator too? She's trying to help her figure out why.
I think she's
targeted, right?
Yeah, she used to be like a special agent. You find out that's not really a spoiler; it just happens. But yeah, I think the girl knows more than she's letting on, and her bodyguard just wants to know why this is happening.
Right, pink girl, the $2 million girl. Well, that's why we can't remember her name, because. We keep referring to her as $2 million girl, $1 million girl. Let me see if I can. Ellison is her last name.
Yeah, it's been a bit since I read it. Now I can't remember.
Yeah, no, that's okay. First of all, the art is really good.
Yeah, the bodyguard's Vita. I remember her name because it was unique. Yeah.
Charlotte.
That's right.
Ellison. I loved the facial expressions and the way the arms and body action. Look at the physical motion. You can really feel it flow there, and the facial expressions. This artwork is kinetic and really well done. I thought it's
very expressive.
Yeah. I really liked it, and the coloring is just right, and the bodyguard introduces her to a bunch of nerds that are trying to help him, and they refer to her as the pink girl because she's always in pink, and it is really. I think one reason why it took me so long is that there were so many things going on in it. I didn't want to miss anything, but it's not so complicated. You're going to forget stuff. I mean, it's just like, it's got everybody in the world wanting to kill this woman, and then Vita's trying to save her. because it's groups of people that want to kill her and single killers. One guy's got like a YouTube stream that he promotes killing people. That his the very end of that particular part of the story arc was really cool. I thought
That's great. Yeah,
I really loved that part because he's they don't use YouTube in there, but he's basically set up a YouTube channel where you get to watch him murder somebody on the Reaper app live and see him collect the money and stuff.
Which is really reflective of the world we live in now, too, because there are these huge YouTube channels of people doing kind of horrendous things and getting very popular, making a lot of money from it. So that's what I kept thinking of the whole time, like those big YouTubers. I don't have to say names. You guys know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it made me think of like those kind of people and how if we lived in this sort of world, which is sort of new, there were reflections of our world, which is like you were saying, it felt, even though it was so out there and so crazy, it felt very realistic and kind of scary because a lot of it could happen, you know?
I feel like we're just 2 clicks away from this actually being real.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah, it really is. And I hear that echo again, but it should go away. And it's. I thought it was snappily written. It has a lot of humor, besides a lot of, attempted murder in it. It's got a lot of humor in it too. You've got Vita, who has a relationship with the cops. One of the cops is her ex-girlfriend. Vita is actually, who does Vita remind me of? Especially when she's got her shirt off. She reminds me of I can't think of who she reminds me of. Not with her shirt off. Which got like a muscle t-shirt on. She's super ripped.
Okay. Yeah.
She looks like a famous athlete, and I just can't think of who it is. But Pink Girl just doesn't get. Look at this art. I love the face on Pink Girl right here. Just that drawing and the coloring right there to highlight her nose and the hair and stuff. I think it's really good. The art is just so good in this book.
Yeah. And I love how they did Charlie's character because you do start out, I mean, I won't spoil anything, but you do start out thinking she's just vapid and she's just all about herself and she doesn't have it's just surface level. But then you learn a lot more. And I think we're going to get a lot more, even more than that in the end. And you care about her more than I thought I was going to, at least, like going into it,
Yeah, you're right. They present her. She's not real forthcoming with the details. As to why there's 1 million, 2 million, then almost 3 million. I think by the end of book 2, it's up to 3 million or something, or close.
Yeah, it keeps going up. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't, and they find the source. They're trying to find the source of who put the hit out on her, and they find out sort of in a general way, and so it's driving Vita crazy that Pink Girl just won't tell her. What she did to deserve this. She's trying to keep her alive for the next. How even long does this time period cover? Like a week?
It's 30 days. The hit is out, so if she can survive the 30 days. Yeah.
But how long in the book?
I think it's maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks pass. Okay.
Maybe.
And they go all over the place. They go to Las Vegas. They go to Santa Fe, or I think they go to Santa Fe. Someplace in New Mexico.
Yeah, they have to move around because so many people in the city they start in, the whole city at that point wants to murder her. So they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. Like,
they thought they could get lost in Las Vegas, and then her picture, gets flashed on one of the billboards, and everybody immediately wants to kill her.
We haven't talked about the best character though, which is Dog.
The dog. Yeah, let me
the
get
dog is so good. I love that dog.
She stole it, of course, from the first. Wait, she had. I think the first little old lady wanted to kill her. The first little old lady is how she found out about the campaign on her. The little old lady had a teeny little dog that Pink Girl stole from her after the older lady tried to kill her. All right, let me get a good picture of Dog here because he is very cute.
I got really attached to the dog, and I kept saying, if this dog dies, I swear. Like,
Oh,
I'm gonna lose it.
I don't even want to.
So I will spoil that. The dog does not die. I feel like that should be a disclaimer in front of every book. I've said it before, but I want to know if that animal dies or not. So far, he's alive.
I think we've talked about this before, and I agree. I agree. There should be a disclaimer if. And also, there's this girl who's super professional hitman who's been hired by somebody to take Charlie out, also known as Pink Girl, also known as $2 Million Girl. This girl is practically like a Bond villain. She's so methodical while everybody's chasing Charlie with baseball bats and 22 guns. This girl's she reminded me. You probably haven't. I don't know if you've read Punisher at all, but Bullseye, Jason Aaron's Bullseye in Punisher does stuff like this girl does, where she goes to get into the mind of Vita and find out who the bodyguard is, so she can like become the bodyguard and figure it out. I think at any time so far in these first two books, there have been several times where we've seen this woman well within killing range of Charlie, but she doesn't kill her.
Mm-hmm.
She's like still observing the situation and observing Vita and Charlie, which I think is interesting. I want to know, of course, more about her, but because I think that's sort of we don't really know what her motivation is as to studying the bodyguard. It's almost like she doesn't care about Charlie as much as she cares about getting into the mind of the bodyguard, to me.
Yeah, I think there's some history there we don't know yet.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for a good picture of Dog. He's all over the place, so you'd think he'd be here. And libraries have been turned into motels. Nobody goes to libraries anymore, so now they're places to live because that's the only place you can get privacy. Everything else is super public. All knowledge is public. And a library is the only place you can go to get real privacy. Oh, now come on. Oh, okay, wait. Almost got him.
So the writer has confirmed there will be a Volume 3. We just don't know when. Volume 2 actually came straight to trade, so they stopped doing singles for this.
Oh, they
after
did?
Volume 1, yeah. So I guess the trade sold well enough that they're going to do that. And so when Volume 3 comes out, it's going straight to trade, which is great news.
That is great news. Okay. Dog, where are you? I'll take any picture of Dog right now. Any picture. There he is.
There he is, in a bag.
In a little harness. It's like the Yo Quiero Taco Bell dog.
He's got the huge ears, the big eyes.
Yeah, he's very expressive. He becomes very attached to them both. That's Dog.
I love Dog. I love all three of them, actually.
Yeah.
They were just like really, they each have their own distinct personality. They were characters that I feel like we don't see a lot, like all of them, even the little dog, right? Because you're right, he was so expressive, and I felt for him just like I felt for the humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just great.
He's put in a lot of danger. There's an awful lot of bullets flying in this book.
Oh, yeah.
And knives getting thrown and stuff. Oh, and here's the old lady that she stole the dog from.
Oh, yeah.
The dog's name is Pepper, apparently, and the old lady wants the dog back at the police station. Mary M., I think you really would like this book.
Yes, Mary.
It's so good. I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that I can rave enough about the art and how much it helps. How fluid and um, kinetic. I've already used that word, but how fluid and expressive and um, just it really helps draw you into the story. Just how really this is somebody I'll have to look to see who the artist is, but I feel like this is somebody who's done a lot of study of the body and sketch classes on the body and stuff, and really knows how to make the body come alive. Because just look at that parachute jump there, where they're all their legs are all in different positions and they're all screaming, and her mouth is all open because of the parachute wind. I mean, the wind going up in her face and everything. I don't know. It's let me see who the artist is, because they deserve as much credit as Christopher Sabella does on the writing.
And I love like the different body types they showed. Like it wasn't just like one. I mean, it was truly
Right.
like true to life, right? Like everyone had their own unique, distinct look that people look like, you know? Like you said, Vita was ripped, and she would be. She's a bodyguard. But how often do we not see that, right? Like even just like her biceps coming out, it's like, oh, of course, like she can do everything, and she's a bodyguard.
Yeah.
You know, and then even people in the background, like that club scene, there's just so many different kinds of people and body types
That's a good point.
depicted, which is really cool. And sadly, we just don't see enough.
That's a good point. Because Charlie herself is not model thin. She's got a very pretty face and has good taste in clothing, but she's not,
she's got a lot of hips.
Like a runway model. And you're right. There's lots of different. I hadn't picked up on that, but now that I think about it, there was a lot of different body types represented, and the art is by Rose Stein and Ted Brandt, and they deserve to draw every book from now on forever.
Yeah, they were really great. And to see like our two main characters be two badass females with their own distinct personalities that we don't see a lot, and unique looks that we don't, it was all like, this is so good, we need more comics like this, and we need a movie. The whole time I was like, this should be a movie 100% right now. So hopefully one day.
The art looked like a movie. It was so blah. It was just so fun seeing it. It looked like a movie. So the first one is called Soft Apocalypse. The Crowded Soft Apocalypse. And the second one is called Glitter Dystopia. Glitter Dystopia.
And if you'll see on the cover there, Ryan Reynolds actually blurbed that one.
That is so funny. Let me get that cover. Let me get that. Because that is a hilarious blurb.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And what it says. The greatest book ever. Ryan Reynolds, major movie star, Deadpool. And there's I love how the O in Crowded is the app. App button, I guess you call it. The skull for Reaper.
Yeah.
Reaper? Yeah. So that and Ant-Man we loved, right?
100%.
Now, this is a book I recommended. It's been on my shelf for a while, and I don't remember why I got it. I can't remember. It's a hardcover reissue, and it's rated M, and it says Dark Fantasy LGBT. And it's got art by Sean Phillips and John Bolton. but I don't know that I'm smart enough to pick up this book on my own. I I, I don't know that because it's a complicated story as the back cover explains it. I don't know that I could look at the back cover explanation and say, that appeals to me. I feel like somebody must have said, hey, there's a book user that's got Sean Phillips art in it. You should check it out. And it sat on my bookshelf for a long time until we kicked Okko out of the rotation. And I said, let's read user. It's got something to do with something that we like. It's got it's I guess ostensibly it's about like at the beginning of the internet has progressed enough so that now I couldn't tell if they were writing these things down, if it was all text. It was all text?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not even up to the graphics yet.
No. Because this was early 90s, so it was all chat rooms.
Okay.
So they're role playing with text. Okay. Which was a huge thing back then.
Right. Okay. I actually never did any of that. So I don't know. I didn't know anything about it, but it did address an issue of being addicted to the internet, where this woman is about to lose her job because she is so involved in these internet chat rooms where she is representing herself as a male knight, rescuing damsels in distress, or
she joins a guild and they fight other guilds, and she wants to be like a knight in shining armor kind of situation. She ends up getting so addicted that she's like doing it at work, and people are like, hey, we got to get these spreadsheets and stuff, and she's just like, nah, I'm playing this, right? And she stays there too late, and it's about her internet addiction, basically.
It is about her internet addiction and how she isn't sure about her identity. To me, it looks like she sort of wishes she were a man. She identifies more with traditional male, not traditional, but stereotypical male attributes. She relates to, whoops, I didn't realize I was on myself. She relates to better, so it sort of calls her identity into question for me.
To me,
sorry?
It was so convoluted, that whole part of the storyline, that I don't even know that we can draw that from it. Like, it was just, there were so many things being thrown at you with that.
Yeah.
That I don't know that we even got a conclusion to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, I will say, before I give my the final thing on it, I would like to say this is John Bolton and Sean Phillips together. I mean, it really should have been like this major home run. And I think this is early in Sean Phillips' career. You can tell it's Sean Phillips, but I don't see any John Bolton in there.
Well, I think that was the role-playing stuff.
Oh, that was John Bolton?
I assume, because it was definitely a different artist. Yeah.
Now. That is exactly what makes sense. Okay, there's John Bolton doing and see, that's what confused me at first, because it's all in text, but this is what she's imagining. Yeah. And I was thinking that's what was happening on screen.
Not for the early 90s, no.
Right, okay. Yeah, I did not, I was not aware of any of that back then. But I can't recommend this book because the idea is she's using this as an escape from her awful life, which a lot of people do. A lot of people have awful lives. But the mechanism that Devin Grayson uses to show her awful life. It's not enough that her mom leaves. She's a young woman working but still living at home. The dad's best friend comes in every day and freaking casually rapes or sleeps with the younger sister.
Oh no, rapes. It's rapes. I mean, the sister's in high school. That's
okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want it.
She doesn't want it.
No, she's clearly not interested in that.
He casually comes in every day, and the dad is probably the least drawn out character or the least fleshed out character I've ever read in a comic. He's like, hey, as dirtbag best friend brings in donuts for raping day, the dad just goes, oh, hey, how you doing? You want some breakfast? He's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm just here to be with your daughter. And that was really stomach churning.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, what the hell is this about? I don't.
And it kept happening. It wasn't even like a one-off. Like, this is something that keeps happening throughout the entire story, and it's disgusting. And there's no point to it. There's no point to it.
No, it didn't. I understand that she had a bad family life, but it didn't need to be represented by that.
No.
I found that reprehensible, and I got really angry at it, and I'm really sorry I recommended this.
I got angry as well. Well, no, it's good though, because we can warn people, right? Like, don't buy this book. I hated it. I will say that. I hated this book.
I hated this too. It made me so angry. I didn't even care what happened to anybody.
No.
Was I still if I were still pouring root beer on books? Forget it.
I'd come over. I would fly to you just to help.
Just to help me dump root beer on it?
Do it. Yes. That's how much I hated it.
I've never read something that made me so angry in a book before than that.
It was awful from the moment the first weird thing happened with the dad's friend, and you get the idea that something's happening, to the point where it literally says it. She says it to her dad, that he lets this guy come and rape her. Like, the main character is like, yeah, you do this. And it's like, what? There's a point where she goes home and she wants to play this game so bad on her computer that she sees her sister and she sees the guy and she knows this is happening, and her sister's crying and the guy's leaving, pulling up like his pants. Okay. And her sister's just like, all right, see ya. And like goes to play this game. And it's like, that's the point where you're just a terrible person. Like, you don't have an addiction. You're a terrible person that you would let your sister, who clearly just went through this, just bye. Okay. So I hated her too. I hated all of them.
Yeah. Well, the one I didn't hate was, of course, the sister, who was in a terrible situation and not able to defend herself because her father was such a no personality. No, he wasn't. He had no. What am I trying to say? He didn't have any.
He's like a sociopath.
Or he was like a cipher. He was like an empty vessel. He didn't have any emotion.
Yeah.
He didn't react.
No empathy. He was a sociopath. It's like he didn't care about anything that was happening.
Yeah.
It was it was weird because there's no reason for it. Like, they never have a reason for any of this happening other than, I guess, again, like you said, to depict that her life's not great, but that still didn't even really, she wasn't experiencing those things, you know? It was just like, she wasn't even helping those things.
No, maybe if she had snapped out of her internet addiction and beat the crap out of the rapist and it's time to re-engage in life now, and killed the rapist or whatever, okay, maybe, but
that's still even happen. There's that moment where she's driving home and she parks. You know what? And then
the driveway,
you see like the front window and you can see the shadows of what's happening. And then her dad pulls up beside her and he's like, "Oh, you coming in?" Like, what is this? I was just like, what am I reading? I'm so upset with this.
Yeah, no, I'm I can't donate this book, so I'm going to have to throw it away. Maybe I should root beer it. I mean, I'm really angry at it. I might root beer this book. It might be time for me to bring it back.
It's not
I'm
good.
angry at it. Very,
Yeah.
very angry. And it's old. It got reissued and has some glowing.
Oh yeah, that introduction was just like, this is the best book. And I'm like, is it? Who are you?
Yeah. And Devin Grayson is a pretty well-known name in comics. The woman, I guess she was an editor at DC or something, and wanted Devin Grayson to write something. And she said that they, she related to the pitch because the editor was. She said, "I've been queer since high school. I love Doom, and I love female protagonists. That woman should be slapped. I think Joan Hickey or whoever she is. That's a terrible introduction.
Yeah.
I mean, this should never have been reprinted. And I have decided I'm bringing back root beer to dump on this book because it's trash to the max.
It's so bad. And the one redeeming thing it could have had is that the fact that it did have the LGBT label, it's like, oh, cool. No, again, what they kind of hinted at was still so like a big mesh of what is this what was the point? I still don't really understand the point of that part of the storyline either. What was the point of the whole thing? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah. Why don't I go? Can you wait 1 minute? I'll go get a bucket, and I've got root beer. I'll be right back. Talk to the audience and answer questions.
Oh no, it's happening, guys. You got any questions for me? Probably not. That's okay. Oh, the collector, what's the best root beer? Well, my favorite is Sprecker's. I haven't had it in quite a long time, but I love it. You should get it. It's delicious. That's my choice. Yeah, I hope he's not getting the good stuff. That is a good point. I wonder what he's getting. Don't waste the good stuff. Yeah, Jessica, that's true. Jessica says sometimes problematic representation could do more harm than no representation, which just sucks. Yeah, that's the bummer, right? Because if I saw that on the back of this book, I mean, even Jess pitched it as the Sean Phillips art, you got LGBT rep, and I was like, cool, this will be fun. Nope. Especially the other things you have to get through in this book, like, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your time.
Okay. I have root beered a book with Kristen before, I think.
Did it? Have you? It's been a long time, if so. I don't know.
Deadly Genesis that I did. That was like the last book I root beered. Here is user. Let's see.
You're going to get some comments.
I got my Diet A&W.
Okay.
Don't know why it's in the house. I hate it.
We were all saying you better not get the good stuff.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. So this book we hated with a good reason. It was nauseating, despicable in the way that it depicted underage, well, just rape in general, but it was an underage, helpless child whose father couldn't care less and whose sister couldn't care less. And it was for no reason at all in there. It was pointless rape. And I found that rape in all comic books generally leads nowhere. There's really no reason ever to have any kind of rape, male on male, male on female, whatever. There's never any reason to have rape in a comic book. I don't see how it could ever properly be used to push a story forward. So fuck you, Devin Grayson. This is absolutely despicable of you to use the daughter in this way, and I hate it so much. Okay. Wait, let me get the root beer open. And we have the, let's see, there we go. Now you can see it. And let's make sure every part of this crappy piece of shit book gets super duper dumped by Root Beer, because this book sucked and I hated it. This may be the new thumbnail. I already did a thumbnail. Oh, did you? It was today Record Store Day?
Oh, yeah. There's a second. They're doing it in drops this year. They had one last month, this month, and next month. I only cared about one record today, so it looks like Reed got it. Thank you, Reed.
Oh, nice. So, user, you got root beard because you suck, and I hate everything about you, and I'm sorry that I ever suggested that we... read it, and there it is.
Beautiful.
Diet A&W for the only thing it's good for, root beering a book.
Some books don't need to be read.
Yeah, I beg of all of you, don't read this book.
Don't waste your time. Don't get angry like we got angry. We did it for you. We're saving you money with Okko and this book.
Yeah, Okko, I'm going to probably sell if it's worth money.
It wasn't like anger inducing. It was just like, what's happening?
Yeah, it was just, we were questioning where everything was going in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, there we go.
Beautiful.
That was a fun end to our story. We read two that we really liked. One we gave up on, and one we want to press the Reaper app for the author.
I wouldn't say that, but I would for that guy. The
guy in the book, and the dad, and the girl, all the characters except the daughter.
Right, who was the one innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, the poor innocent daughter. So we will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. And
I hope so.
If there's a difference between the 5 p.m. time slot, I tried to put a thing in the community tab in my channel that said this show is going to be on at noon. But I don't know how many people really get those notices. So and I don't know that noon's really that great of a time. We had far fewer people than we usually do at noon, but this was the only time we could do it, which is better than not doing it. So,
and thank you to everyone who did show up.
Yeah, thank you very much. Started with blood, ended with root beer. Can't ask for a better show.
Perfect.
So, Kristen, you have your own video, your own YouTube channel. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's called the Comic Slayer. Like Slayer, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, have you seen this one? Maybe.
No.
Yeah, it's the Slayer font with Buffy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's called the Comic Slayer. I also have an Instagram at the Comic Slayer. You can check it out. Reed and I do videos on my channel. We'll be doing one really soon, maybe this weekend. We're gonna try. I've just been working a lot, but you'll get content over there at some point. Check it out.
What album was Reed after for you?
Tegan and Sarah came out with a live record from their last tour that I saw them on. So I wanted it so bad, and they're like my favorite band. So that's the one. It was limited to 4,000. Right now, it's really hard. Like, we don't have a local record store. And these record stores, some are dropping online. So he was like looking at all these sites, like hoping we could get it.
That's a major score then. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
And I follow you on Instagram, just so you know.
Finally.
Well, I didn't recognize you. I keep thinking of as OmniCat and not the Comic Slayer. But I mean, now you're the Comic Slayer.
I mean, I could have done OmniCat's Vault, but that's a direct ripoff of you. We were like, when I was trying to think of names, I was like, I could just rip off Jess, I guess, but I probably shouldn't.
So funny. Oh my god. And you can see me, OmniDog, on OmniDog's Vault on YouTube, like this channel, and I'm on Instagram, OmniDogs_Vault, and I appear with Omni Bros tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to be having a special on custom bound books, and I have got to get going on some content for my channel. I just haven't. I've been doing too much reading and not enough videoing. Videoing.
Yeah. We got to read these books sometime, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So you find a real user, and you're like, "Oh, I can toss this out of my room now. Make some room."
That's right. Now a good book can take its place.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you to the chat for joining us, and thank you, Kristen, for being a great host as always. I appreciate your knowledge and insight. It's always good talking with you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for dunking that book and not liking it. I was reading it like he better not be loving this.
I knew. I was
knew.
reading it like, oh, she is going to be pissed at me for suggesting this.
Yeah. We both got through it. We survived.
I am going to change the graphic to say root beer dunking, and that's it.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you to everybody watching and listening and learning, and peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you.